though here is on the 9-inch color touchscreen. So this is the first time they're adding Google built-in into the Civic. And if you're not familiar with what Google built-in is, it's essentially 3 key applications. So first, welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have the refreshed 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. And I'm going to tell you why this is a fuel-efficient, sporty, and fun-to-drive vehicle. So we'll go over the exteriors, the interiors, the powertrains, but today we won't be taking a drive. We're going to save that for a future video once the car goes on sale. So if this is content you're after or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. So we're dealing with the 11th gen Civic. Now, you guys might remember that back in the 9th generation Civic, there was already a Civic Hybrid in the lineup. Well, when it got to the 10th gen Civic, that actually went away because Honda decided to create a new generation Insight, which was based off of that generation Civic and kind of became its own bespoke model. Well, here we are now with the 11th gen Civic, and now the Civic regains that new hybrid trim with an all-new powertrain and a ton of new features, tech, and design. So let's get right into it, because what I want to call about is we have 2 versions today. We have the Honda Civic Hybrid Sedan and the hatchback. That's right, for this new generation, you actually get to choose the body style, and I think that's great for customers. So let us know down in the comments below, which body style would you consider? Maybe wait till we get through all the details, but I think it's great to offer the choice for people to decide. Now, with the sedan, you get basically 4 trim options. You get an LX entry trim, you get a sport trim, and you get a sport hybrid, and then a sport touring hybrid. The sport touring hybrid is what I have here next to me, so it's the highest end trim with all the bells and whistles. Now, as far as powertrain, so that LX and sport, they only come with the 2-liter naturally aspirated engine. We don't have specs to share today, but what that means is now the 2 top trims are the hybrid. So that 1.5 turbo, that L15 engine goes away in this version of the Civic, but you're replaced with a much more powerful and much more fuel-efficient engine, which we'll cover in the powertrain. So let's go ahead and jump right into the exterior design, because they did make some significant changes to the front-end styling of this Civic Hybrid. So right off the bat, you might notice the color. This is an all-new color, and it's exclusive to the sedan Civic Hybrid. It's called Blue Lagoon Pearl, and it looks really good, guys. It's an all-new color. It has a hint of green in it. It's not just a true navy blue, but I think it looks really good. Can't wait to see it in the sunlight. There's also new colors throughout. So there's a new solar silver metallic color, and Honda's great-looking urban gray pearl is also going to be offered on this Civic Hybrid as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the front fascia, because it's been, well, essentially completely redesigned for this Civic Hybrid. So it starts with this top brow here, right? That actually kind of used to come down a little bit further. I know it was maybe a little controversial for some of you, but they've completely changed this part, cleaned it up, and I think it looks really, really good. As we look down at the entire lower front fascia, that's also all new, right? So it really kind of reminds me of the Civic Type R, right? You got this huge gaping opening down below, and you'll actually see that there's a big part of it that's cut out, and which means it's actually functional, feeding air in. So it looks a lot more aggressive than the pre-refresh model. Even these little side air curtains are functional, and with this being the sport touring hybrid, the top trim, there's great features like parking sensors. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 up front. So again, let us know down in the comments below, do you like the new fascia? I think it looks really good. One other detail to point out, and it's going to be kind of hard to see on this specific color, is they kind of have these little like eyebrows below the headlight, and on the top trims they're actually painted to match the body color. So these pieces here below the headlights as well as this little front lip, they get painted body color on this top trim. On some of the lower trims, you're actually gonna find that this piece and this piece down below are gonna be just a traditional black color. So I think it looks really good painted in body color. So let's go ahead and take a look at the side. One of the other big change points for this is they have an all new wheel design. So it's a 18-inch wheel, 235 40R18 tires, and it's like a spoke design, and it's in a dark matte gray with a machine finish to it. So I think they look really good. This is an all new wheel design. And I think typically, you know, when manufacturers make hybrid models, they try to make them super aero and efficient. And not that these aren't, but I think these look really sporty and look really good. So don't feel like, hey, you're just getting a hybrid. It has to look, you know, boring. This actually looks really sporty and good. So we'll make our way around the sedan. Not many exterior design changes there. On the Sport Touring, you still get the, you know, black window surround, the black mirror cap. So again, it makes this car look really sporty. You know, same size wheel and tire package in the back, but there is some very kind of small details that they've adjusted for the hybrid in the rear. So as we look at the sedan, right, if you look down below, there's no exhaust finishers, right? There's no, you know, dual exhaust or single exhaust. It's just gone all together. And so they've kind of re-sculpted the lower, you know, bumper to accommodate that. It's a very clean design, and I get why they did it, going like, you know, kind of creating this eco-friendly hybrid image, but let us know your guys' thoughts down below. Would you have liked to still see an exhaust finisher, or do you like this new clean design? In back, you're gonna see same kind of badging that they had before. The Honda logo says Civic, says Sport Touring to identify which trim you're getting, but what's new is this new hybrid badge. And it's not overdone, and quite frankly, it's the only place you're gonna find it on the exterior of the car, but just enough to let you know that you're driving something different. One other last key feature is that the tail lights on the sedan only, so not on the hatchback, which we'll get to, they've actually like darkened the tail lights. And that's gonna be true for every single trim in the sedan lineup. So I think that helps a lot, makes it look really sporty in back. So again, let us know your guys' thoughts down below. And with that, let's go ahead and hop inside to talk about the interior. All right, here we are inside the interior of the Honda Civic Hybrid sedan. If you guys are familiar with the Civic lineup, or if you've been in one of the vehicles, it won't feel drastically different. Like I said, this is a mid-cycle refresh for this hybrid model, but there are some improvements that are worth calling out. So first and foremost is really the infotainment. So they've updated the digital instrument cluster. It's still 10.2 inches in size, but there's hybrid-specific graphics and kind of an interface that show you the charging and things like that. So we're gonna hold off until we get into the hatchback. I'll show you more details then, but that's definitely a change point worth noting. Also, here in the center display, you still have a 9-inch color touchscreen. You get things like wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, but what's new, and this is new across all the Civics, is on this top trim, you get Google built in. So this is the first time it's being added to the Civic. And again, once we get in the hatchback, I'll kind of show you how it works and what makes up that Google built-in software. Other than that, there are some other changes. Up front, now you get 2 USB ports. So before there was just one, and not only do you get 2, they're both USB-C. So update your cables, you're gonna need it, whether it's for data and or charging. As far as design details, there's a couple touch points, not much. One of the things you're going to notice is like along this honeycomb grille that Honda's been, you know, well known for now and introduced it on the Civic. They've kind of changed the surround, the color of it, to kind of indicate that you're in the new hybrid model. So it's this kind of like off-white color. You'll remember on the other trims it's like more of a dark gray, and then if you were in something like an SI, it was like a red and things like that. So it's kind of interesting that they changed that given the trim of Civic that you're in. But again, with this being the fully loaded Sport Touring model, it's well equipped, and that was true before. You get things like the 12-speaker Bose system, you know, you get heated seats, you get the leather interior surfacing on this top trim as well. And again, these are really nice seats. They're comfortable, power on the driver's side, power on the passenger side. So a lot of creature comforts there. With the steering wheel, you get paddle shifters, but they're not to switch gear, so to speak. They're to actually adjust the amount of regen braking that you're going to get with the hybrid system. So again, later we'll talk about the powertrain, but what's cool is that there is that adjustability to adjust the amount of regen. If you've seen our other videos on the Honda Accord Sport L Hybrid or the CR-V Sport L Hybrid, you'll know I talked a lot about that during the drive component, how it helps you slow down, how it helps regen and give you more battery back. So we'll definitely cover that once we get to drive this car. It is worth noting that the Accord actually had 6 levels of that regen, while the CR-V had 4. The Civic also has 4. And so we'll talk more about that once we get to the drive. But other than that, like it's always been on the top trim of Civic, it's a pretty nice place to be. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and hop in the back of the sedan so you can see how much space there is. All right, so now we're in the rear of the Civic Hybrid sedan. So it doesn't look like they really made any changes back here, which is fine. But again, I'm showing you, I know someone has asked me before how tall I am, so they have a reference. So I'm about 5'10", I weigh about 180 pounds. I can't believe I said that, but this gives you an idea of my body and how I fit in here. This is my actual driving position to show you where I would be sitting. So again, lots of knee room here, pretty good, headroom, shoulder room. So the Civic, despite it being kind of the entry compact sedan in the lineup, it has a ton of space. Good materials throughout. Again, with this being the Sport Touring, you get this nice leather material. It's kind of got this like perforations on the inserts here, so it looks like a really nice place to be. You get things like a mat pocket, but there's no rear HVAC. There's no USB ports back here. You do at least get an armrest that just folds down to cup holders, so it is a true 5-passenger vehicle. But let us know down in the comments below, would you have wanted to see some more connectivity options back here, or rear HVAC vents, things like that. So with that, now let's go ahead and check out the cargo space. All right, so here we are with the cargo space of the Civic Hybrid sedan. So it's unchanged from the previous Civic refresh. So it's still 14.4 cubic feet of space, which is a lot. You could easily fit 2 large suitcases back here, or probably 3 or 4 mid-sized suitcases. It is a 60/40 rear seat folding setup here with these latches that is pretty easy. You just pull them, the seats fall back. When you do that, you get a pretty good pass-through size, so you could fit a lot of things back there. So overall, really good space considering it's the sedan. Of course, we'll show you how much space you get in the hatchback. So with that, let's go ahead and finally talk about the powertrain. Okay, so let's talk about the powertrain. It's the same whether you get the sedan Civic Hybrid or the hatchback Civic Hybrid. So it's Honda's 4th gen 2-motor hybrid system. And again, if you guys have seen our Accord Sport L Hybrid review or the CR-V Sport L Hybrid review, you know how much I like that powertrain, how good it drives. It's still really fuel efficient despite being really sporty and fun to drive. Now, it's not the exact version that's in either of those cars. It was actually tuned and optimized for the Civic, specifically for this body, size, weight, and to achieve maximum fuel efficiency. In the Civic version, it actually makes 200 horsepower and 232 foot-pounds of torque. So that's a lot of power out of a Civic, and in fact, it's actually the most powerful non-Type R Civic they've ever made. So, don't feel so bad that the 1.5 turbo is going away, because you're getting a more powerful engine that's also more fuel efficient as well. So with that, we've covered all the details of the sedan. Let's finally go ahead and talk about the hatchback. Okay, so now let's cover the hatchback body style of this refreshed Civic Hybrid. So just like we covered on the sedan, it gets all those same updates to the new front fascia, which again, as I just said there, looks really, really good to me. Let us know your guys' thoughts down below. Now, this color on this car is an existing color, Boost Blue Pearl, right? So that's unchanged, but there is a new hatchback specific body color called Sand Dune Pearl. And as I mentioned on the sedan, all Civics now get a new solar silver color, as well as urban gray pearl. So there's lots of new colors for the Civic lineup for this 2025 refresh. But like I said, you get all the same enhancements, the new front fascia, the new brow, and also that kind of gaping opening down below. So again, I think it looks really good on the hatch as well. As you come across the side, you're going to see those same 18-inch machine finish wheels, literally the exact same wheels that are available on the sedan. So no matter which body style you get, you're still getting the sporty 6-spoke wheels, so that looks really good. And again, this car is also that same top level sport touring hybrid trim. So you get the black mirror caps, the black surrounds to the windows. Again, it looks really good. And it's also worth noting that the hatchback also gets kind of this exclusive side sill, right? So it's body color up top and then black, and it kind of juts out at the bottom. So I think that looks even more sporty than what you get on the sedan. But let's just really quick talk about the trims, right? So we talked about them on the sedan. It's slightly different on the hatchback, and the fact that there is no LX trim. You do get a sport trim, then you get Sport Hybrid, or you get Sport Touring Hybrid, which is what I have here today, fully loaded all in. But it's different between the hatchback and sedan, so I wanted to call that out. And as we make our way to the rear, same wheels in the back, look really good. And as we get to the rear of the hatch, you're gonna notice again, there's not many changes. It's already looked really good, and with it being a mid-cycle refresh, they didn't make many changes. But just like the sedan, you're gonna notice that the whole lower end of the fascia is different. They've actually, there's no exhaust finishers again, just like the sedan, and they've restyled that diffuser. It's kind of in this like, you know, matte gray finish here, which it looks really good, but let us know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Would you have liked to have seen the exhaust finishers still, or are you okay with this kind of new clean look, given that this is the hybrid trim? But again, the rest of the car in the back is actually unchanged before the refresh. It doesn't get the adjustments to the tail lights like it does on the sedan. So you got the Honda badging, Civic Sport Touring to let you know the trim that you have, and you get this hybrid badge, which is really the new thing for 2025. So with that, let's go ahead and hop inside to talk about the hatchback. All right, here we are inside the Civic Hybrid hatchback. And you just saw us go through the sedan, so I'm not going to repeat every detail. You get the same improvements that were made in that vehicle in this one. Doesn't matter which body style you go to. You get the updates to the infotainment, the USB ports, the little design details. I mean, the one thing you'll notice that's different is just the interior color variation, where we were in that like light gray interior on the sedan, and now we're in the ebony or the black interior on the hatchback. But again, still really premium materials throughout. Since I didn't really spend a lot of time in the sedan though, let's talk a little bit more about the updates to the digital instrument cluster and this 9-inch color touchscreen. So we'll show you in B-roll here, but the 10.2-inch digital instrument cluster was always really nice on the top trim Civic. It shows the little Civic inside, and it shows the vehicles around you, so all those ADAS and safety features are there. But again, with this being the hybrid model now, they've kind of changed the way the gauges look. Essentially, you've got your speedo off to the right, and then now you get like a charge meter off to the left, and it shows essentially how much power you're outputting, and it also shows you when you're regen braking and actually gaining energy back to the battery. So off to the left, you actually have a battery gauge, and it shows how much of the battery is actually full, or if you're on the lower end of the power. So it's nice that they gave those specific updates to the Civic Hybrid. The real story though here is on the 9-inch color touchscreen. So this is the first time they're adding Google built-in into the Civic. And if you're not familiar with what Google built-in is, it's essentially 3 key applications. So first, it's Google Maps, which means the embedded navigation in the car is Google Maps. So whether you're trying to do CarPlay or Android Auto, those are still separate features, and you can do that. But even if you didn't have your phone on you, you essentially have Google Maps built in, and once you're logged in, it can pull up all your POIs, all your search and history. So it's a really nice feature. If I click it here, it loads up super fast. It's all touch. It's super, really high resolution actually, and anybody that's used to Google Maps will be completely familiar with it. The second major app that's a part of this suite is called the Play Store. Now, in this case, you have to sign in to, to log in and bring up your account. But once you do that, essentially you're able to download new apps into the vehicle specific to the car that add new functionality. So that's a really cool feature that can be done over the air, or OTA as they call it. But in most cases, you're gonna basically only get the apps to update if it's on Wi-Fi, or if you actually allow that data to happen through a tethered device. So that's a really nice feature. And then lastly, the kind of key piece is the Google Assistant. So there's a button here on the screen that you can push to call it up. You could actually do the button on the steering wheel to call it up, or you can just use voice. So here it is live. I'm going to show you an example of what it can do and also how quick and responsive the system is. So ready? Here we go. Hey Google, what's the weather like today?
Currently in Crystal City, it's 68 degrees and partly cloudy. Today, it'll be partly cloudy with a forecasted high of 71 and a low of 58.
So that's how quick it is. It's super fast, super responsive. Of course, you can ask, Google all kinds of things, but you give it that, initial call, and essentially it pops up and it does all of that on the fly. So having that added into the functionality with still having, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility, then I think that makes this car that much better. So let us know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Would you actually use this feature? Do you have it on your current car? I'd be curious to learn that. So with that, let's go ahead and show you how much space is in the rear of the hatch. All right, here we are in the rear of the Civic hatch. And I mean, look, I just got out of the sedan and now I'm here in the hatch. And honestly, it feels about the same. I still have really good knee room in front of me. Despite the hatch having that kind of like slope roof in the back, I don't feel like I'm penalized for like headroom. Again, same good space, literally the same type of materials and features. It doesn't change between the body styles. Again, the one difference just being the color interior that I'm in right now. So still 5-passenger, still has the same pull down armrest. Really not missing much, but again, let us know, do you like the sedan? Are you going for the hatchback? I don't feel like you really lose anything inside. So let's go ahead and talk about the cargo space, because that's where the biggest difference lies. All right, here we are with the cargo of the Civic Hybrid hatchback. Now, obviously, with it being the hatchback, it's going to have a lot more space and more utility than the sedan body style. So as we showed you on the sedan, it gets 14.4 cubic feet of space, but here in the hatchback, that grows to 24.5 cubic feet of space, which essentially is like the same amount of space you get in like a small CUV. So there's a lot of utility gained by going with this body style. The other thing that I maybe didn't call out before is no matter which body style you go with, those cubic feet are the same that it was before the hybrid model was introduced. So what that means is Honda did a really good job with their packaging, right? Like a lot of times if you get a hybrid model or something like that, they're gonna have extra, battery, and you're gonna get like, lose some space in the cargo because there's this bulge coming out of the floor. That's not the case with either body style. So they did a really good job on the packaging. You're not compromised by getting this trim vehicle. The other thing, like the sedan, is 60/40 folding seats. Unlike the sedan, there's no latches back here that's up on the shoulders of the seat, but they still just fold down, give you a ton of space when they're folded down. Of course, no compact spares, nothing like that, but you do get a tire repair kit down below. And the other thing with it being a hatch is you have this shade that you pull out and you can pull over to kind of cover your space back here. But one thing that maybe not a lot of people know is this little like shade is actually removable. Nice functionality there. The hatch also gets this kind of like soft mesh material here that again helps to cover and really hide away anything you might have in the rear of the vehicle. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap up this video. All right, guys, that's a wrap. What did you think of this refreshed 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid? Are you guys gonna go with the sedan? Are you guys going with the hatchback? Let us know down in the comments below. This new car goes on sale next month, so it's around the corner. And when it does, at that time, we'll be sure, of course, to make an all-new video, including our drive review impression. So definitely come back for that. And again, if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching. If you've watched before, we really appreciate your support. Either way, be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And we'll see you at the next episode.